It's an unstoppable day, family. I'm Terrence, the Unstoppable Coach Leffridge, and you are tuned to another episode of the Next Level Living Show with Coach Terrence. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We've got another fabulous show for you, the Next Level Living Show, where we talk to ordinary people doing extraordinary things to live their life on the next level of their greatness. I'm your host, Terrence, the Unstoppable Coach Leffridge, with Unstoppable Coaching Services out of Chicago, where we help you create your vision, implement your vision, and more importantly, hold you accountable to making your vision a reality, not being stopped by any circumstances, any trials, or any tribulations that might come in your life. Because as we like to say, why would you ever settle for less when you can be unstoppable? We've got another great show for you tonight, so come on in, get your great favorite beverage, get your pen, get your paper, get your smartphone, your recorder, anything necessary to get these nuggets that we're going to share with you tonight. Because tonight, we're going to talk to you and help you make your first impression a lasting impression. It's one thing that I know as an entrepreneur that when I brand my business, when I talk about my business, when I send out any type of promotions or any type of literature, I'm looking to make an impression with my potential clients, with my existing clients, and with their circle of influence so that we can bring in more clients for the business. So it's important that in everything I do, in the verbiage, in the sentences, in the structure, in the color, in the pictures that I use, we all want that to say what my business is about. And as an entrepreneur, you need to know how to do that as well. So tonight we're going to be talking to you about how to make that first impression with your marketing materials a lasting impression that's going to lead to more clients and ultimately more sales. But more importantly, we're going to be sharing with you another unstoppable story because our special guest tonight is a visionary design specialist. She's going to talk to you about the butterfly effect, and she knows it well because she wasn't always a butterfly. You see, just like a butterfly, our special guest tonight had to go into a dark place, a cocoon, otherwise known as the prison. But she didn't let that be her end point. She didn't let that be the end of the story. Instead, she used that cocoon experience to create a butterfly effect that now has her living on the next level of her greatness and giving back to others in the process. So, we're going to introduce our special guest in just a second. But as always, let's get the housekeeping rules out of the way. Now, if you're looking at the broadcast right now, you'll see above you that you've got all these great buttons. You've got the Facebook button. You've got the LinkedIn button. You've got the Twitter button. You've got the Google Plus button. And you've got the Pinterest button. All different ways that the Next Level Living Show is interacting in social media. So why not take a minute right now and pick one of those buttons, whether your favorite social media is Facebook, or whether you're a Twitter person, or whether you just love to share your information on Google. Go ahead and click one of those buttons and let the world know that you're watching the Next Level Living Show with Coach Terrence. Let them know what's going on and let them know that they need to be here right now. If they're an entrepreneur looking to make that first impression a lasting impression as well. Oh no, but that's not it. If you really want to get interactive with us, then just look down below. You'll see that if you want to have a more interactive experience with us, all you have to do is click here. And that's going to take you over to the Next Level Living Show chat room on Facebook. And there you can put in your name, you can put in where you're from, and if you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, tell us what business you're in and shout out your business, and we'll be sure to try to get it on the show before our time is over. And you will definitely want to connect with our special guest tonight because she can help you make your first impression a lasting impression. So, who have I been talking about for the last 5 minutes? Well, I've been talking about none other than Tara Gazulu. She is the founder of Butterfly Graphics, a freelance graphic design business out of Woodstock, Georgia. She specializes in logo design, print media, book design, and much more. She has a passion for helping others who are struggling to find themselves and who are looking to know exactly who they are. And just from a personal experience, I had the personal experience of working with Tara on a number of projects this late last year and this year. And what I love about Tara is that she is able to see your vision even before you can, and even before you take that vision and put it into your marketing materials. She's got this gift, she's got this ability, she's got this talent of turning your thoughts, turning your visions into a competent, concise, and very unique type of marketing that you can use throughout your business to take your business to the next level. And you know what? I just got to show you some of the things that she's already done in working with me over the course of our relationship together. So I'm going to share my screen just for a second and show you some of the things that she has created. She has created this great logo that I just love, the new Unstoppable Coaching logo right there. She also has created a speaker one sheet for me. And if you are a speaker or you're a coach or you're someone who works with the public, you definitely want to have that one sheet set up so that people can know exactly who you are and what you do so that they'll hire you that much quicker. And then her crowning achievement thus far, which has many more to come, I'm sure, she has created all of the marketing material for the Power Life Atlanta 2016 conference featuring the Men of Vision and Dr. George Fraser that's going to be down in Atlanta on April 30th. All these things she has done with Butterfly Graphics. So without further ado, we're going to bring her into the broadcast and let her talk to you about what it takes to make a first impression, a lasting impression. So welcome from Woodstock, Georgia, the owner of Butterfly Graphics, Tara Gazulu. Tara, are you on the broadcast?
I'm here. Hi,
Hey,
Terrence.
hi, Tara. How are you?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I am blessed and highly favored, and you know, I am unstoppable.
That's true.
So, listen, thank you so much for hanging out with the Next Level Living show and sharing a bit of your expertise as well as your story tonight. So,
Thank you.
as I like to always do, I like to start out by asking you one quick question, and that question is, what does it mean to you to live your life on the next level?
Well, that question encompasses quite a bit, but particularly in my case, it means living up to the full potential that the Lord created me to live up to. In John 10:10, it says that He has come that we might have life and have it more abundantly. And if I'm just living an ordinary life, that doesn't mean I'm living very abundantly. It means taking full advantage of all of the gifts and talents and skills and blessings the Lord gave me and not wasting any of them. It also means, as it says in the word, that everything that I do as unto the Lord. I'm not doing it for the unstoppable coach or myself or my husband or my sweet little puppy dog or anybody. I'm doing it for the Lord. And by doing it that, I'm living an extraordinary life. And I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to have the chance to live this extraordinary life.
Oh wow, I love it. That is a powerful testimony. I love how you really hit it on the head that you're not doing it for yourself. You're not even doing it for me, even though I'm benefiting from it, but you're doing it for the love of the Lord and giving back that the gifts that He freely gave to you. That's a wonderful testimony. But what I want you to do is I want you to share a little bit more about who Tara is and what's Tara's story.
Well, I grew up I was born in Nuremberg, Germany. I was the child of a military family, and we moved to Belvedere, South Carolina. I know you all can't tell I'm from the South with my accent, but
Not at all.
not at all, Mr. Chicago. We moved to Belvedere, South Carolina when I was 18 months old, and I grew up there, lived there, graduated from high school there, went through the normal trials and tribulations that most teenage girls go through, and allowed them to affect me in ways that I should not have. If you said boo to me, I held on to that boo for most of my life. I was very insecure, and because of that, I tried very hard to make myself be noticed. Because I felt like I wasn't worth being noticed. So I did everything I could to get noticed. And the first man that ever said he loved me, I married him and had a beautiful daughter. She's 24 years old, and she still lives in South Carolina. And through all sorts of stuff that I don't really even need to go into because it's not necessary, unfortunate situation happened, and after 6 long years of battling a legal problem, at the age of 38, I found myself entering prison. But let me back up. I went to college for a music degree. At the time, I thought that music was my life, my passion, everything that I would do for the rest of my life. And little did I know God had other plans. The issue all along was I kept trying to run my life myself and not asking the Lord what he wanted me to do. Well, fast forward back to finding myself at 38 years old entering the back gates of a prison, not knowing who I was or what I was or whose I was, scared and alone. And this little girl from North Augusta, South Carolina, Belvedere, South Carolina, never been away from home, all of a sudden I found myself in a place lost and alone. And 6 weeks after I got to prison, my husband at the time left and moved to Kansas City, Missouri, and I never saw him again. 6 months after I got to prison, I was served with divorce papers, and he divorced me. And through all sorts of different things, slowly but surely, all sorts of, for lack of a better way of saying it, junk was removed from my life. At the time, you couldn't have told me it was junk. You would have told me, I would have thought that it was stuff that I was going to miss and be so unhappy that it was gone. But again, as I said, God had plans that I didn't know. And about six months into my prison sentence, not too long after I got served with those divorce papers, I happened to be attending a church service in the gym at the prison and heard a message about restoration and how the Lord has a plan for our lives. And I made a point at that moment to take the time that I had been given, this set apart time, or as I now call it, my time in my cocoon, my time away from everybody else, to figure out who I was. And I turned to the Lord for that, and I turned to the resources that the prison system had, and I started taking a hard look at myself and realizing that a lot of my issues and my problems were my fault, were the fact that I had chosen to hold on to hurts and disappointments that were long gone. I just decided to hold on to them and should not have. But so I began a series of classes and programs and church services and Bible studies that began to give me tools and skills that I didn't know that I needed, that I didn't know were missing. And fortunately, the state of Georgia does provide education in their institutions, providing you meet their criteria. And for the longest time, I thought that I wanted to do the culinary arts program because I love to cook. I thought that I would always want to cook, and I thought that's what I'd want to do. But I changed my mind very quickly and decided that I wanted to go into the program that they have. It was Visual Arts and Communication Design. And I can't even begin to express the freedom that I found in that classroom. You know, all day long, wearing a prison uniform, you lose your identity. You lose your name. You lose your, you are called by your last name. You're not Ms. whoever, Mrs. No one ever uses your first name. And I walked into that class on the first day, and all of a sudden I was Mrs. Dorfman, that my last name at the time. All of a sudden I felt like I didn't have on that prison uniform. When officers and higher level staff members would come in, we were treated as if we were staff almost. We were allowed to do things in that class that we were not allowed to do outside of the walls of that classroom. I have to give credit where credit's due, and our professor, Mr. Whipple, was just, he treated us with respect and with dignity in ways that we you don't experience inside the walls of a prison. And through that class, I found out that, number one, I could do math, because I thought, who would have thought I had to have math for graphic design? But the first 3 months of the class, you're doing book work, and the whole thing is, oh, I can't wait to get on the computer. I can't wait to get on the computer. And I thought, if I don't finish this math, I'm never going to get through. But I made it through, and ended up doing very well in my studies, and absolutely enjoyed it. And that's where I began to see that I had a talent that I didn't know I had. I had a gift that I didn't know I had. And through the different lessons that we went through, it's so funny now, I can look back at some of that stuff I designed then, because I still have my portfolio from that class. You can go back and look at it, and I thought, what was I thinking when I did that? Or what was I thinking when I did this? But I'll tell you, I am doing book covers now quite frequently. And my very first book cover was in that classroom in Pulaski State Prison. And that's where I learned how to format them, and learned how to lay them out, and learned how to figure out how big my spine needed to be, and that sort of thing. And so I can look back on that and realize that God was speaking into my future right there in that classroom at Pulaski. And the great thing was, after I graduated, I was given the opportunity to stay in the class as a teacher's aide, and had so much fun doing that. It became a joke, though, that I could not use the laminator because I always broke it. I tend to think it was because it was so old, but anyway, I was very grateful for the skills that I learned, and being able to get those skills. But I'll be honest, in the graphic design field, you don't learn until you start doing it.
Yeah.
You know the mechanics, but you don't know how to do it till you start working in that field for the first time.
Wow.
And
let me jump in real quick, Tara, because we're talking to Tara Gazulu, and I call her the design visionary specialist, but she is the CEO and owner of Butterfly Graphics out of Woodstock, Georgia. And we're talking about the butterfly effect, making your first impression a lasting impression. And she's giving us some background about her own story, and it's an impressive story. And a couple of things that have come to my mind just listening to your story. And the one thing that stuck out to me is, although you went in convicted as a criminal, you came out with a career.
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit more about that. How did you ever think that would be your story once you went into the prison walls the first time?
No, honestly, I thought my story was over, because all you see about prison is what we see on television or what we see from Hollywood, and you think as soon as you come home, you're going to have a big, huge ex-felon written across you, and you're going to walk down the street and someone's going to be able to tell. Well, that's not true. I had no idea that I would walk out of prison day one and have an employable skill. I never made, the first job that I had when I got out of prison was with my graphic skills, and I made more money at that job than I did the career that I had prior to going to prison.
Wow. And you know what you said earlier that in your story, that you thought when you went in those prison walls that you had lost some things that you would miss.
Yes.
But on the other side, you found out that you gained some things that you didn't even have before you went in. Is that true?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm not talking about material things, and I think you know that. But yes. I want to make sure that our guests know that. I'm not talking about material things. I'm talking about things that you can only find deep within yourself, that you have to go into a really dark place and really get into yourself and really look hard at yourself to find them, to be able to find that strength that you don't know you have, that courage that you don't know you have, that ability to stay strong and happy and joyful despite your circumstances, despite what's around you, despite where you're living, despite how many pairs of shoes you have, despite how many outfits you have. None of that matters. What matters is what's on the inside and what you tangibly have inside. And being able to find that and knowing where my strength comes from, knowing where my that you know how people say they have butterflies in their stomach. Mm-hmm. I say that in a whole different way. When I get that fluttery feeling, it's a good feeling, because I know that that's coming from that deep, deep place that I found during those 7 years that I was in prison.
Wow, that place of inspiration.
Absolutely.
And what I'm loving about your story is, and again, not only the first nugget that you went in as a criminal, but you came out with a career. You came out, you went in as somebody's employee, but right. You came out as your own person.
Yes.
And the one thing that I want us to spend the rest of our time talking on, because we have plenty of entrepreneurs that watch this show, it's that entrepreneurial spirit, and it's that never give up spirit, and it's that unstoppable spirit that says, despite your circumstances, if you find yourself and you go through that cocoon experience, you come out as a butterfly on the other side.
That's right.
So let's weave those two together and talk to the entrepreneur, Tara. Talk to them about how they can make their first impression a lasting impression and have the same type of success that you've been having.
Well, the very first thing that you have to do is determine what your passion is. As I said earlier, I thought it was music, and I love music. And I can sing, and I thoroughly enjoy it, but it's not my passion. My passion is creating something. My passion is, as you said, seeing a design in my head and figuring out how I'm going to make the word unstoppable jump out of a stop sign. How am I going to make that logo look like it looks inside my head? That's my passion. I'll sit for hours and try to figure it out, and then realize, wait a minute, I've been at the computer for 5 hours, but it feels like I've only been here 5 minutes. That's what you need to determine first of all, is what is your passion? What are you passionate about? Because if you can find what you're passionate about, you'll never work another day in your life. You'll never feel like the drudgery of getting up and going to work. That's my first thing, is find what you're passionate about, and then figure out a way to put that passion into practice and put that passion into purpose and provision for your life. And that's what I did. I started working at a sign company. I learned more and more and more about the graphic design field. I started giving away my graphic design to ministries that needed things. Particularly, I started with ministries who went into prisons because it was such a powerful experience for me. I started giving away designs. I started offering to do business cards for people. One of the first things I did when I came home was go to a class on resume writing and all of that because it was free. Why not take advantage of it? I designed a business card for everybody in that class. Even though they didn't have a job, they needed a card, so then they walked in somewhere, when they handed their resume, they could also hand a card and say, here's who I am, here's my contact information, keep this, staple it to my resume. It gave them a little extra edge. So I did that for everybody in that class, just at the community center. It wasn't even like it was just a free class that we took. So once you figure out what that passion is, then figure out a way to work in it and do it. And you might have to give some stuff away. You might have to not worry about how you're going to pay the bills with your passion for a while, but figure out a way to grow in that passion and to grow and get comfortable in it and figure it all out, and then step into it. And then the provision side of it will come to play. Before you know it, somebody will say, I liked that business card you did for so-and-so down the street. Can you design one for me? I'll pay you $20. And then 20 turns into 50, and then 50 turns into $65 an hour, which is the going rate for a graphic designer in the Atlanta area.
And so on and so on.
Exactly.
And yes, I love it. Again, we're talking to Tara Gazulu, who is the CEO and owner of Butterfly Graphics out of Georgia. Definitely, we want you to click on the share buttons for Facebook or Twitter or Google Plus and let them know that you're watching this great show right now. We're about to get in some specific, powerful nuggets about graphic design so that you can help make your first impression a lasting impression. So Tara, tell them a little bit about Butterfly Graphics and what specifically you do that's different from every other typical graphic designer. Remember, you're the visionary design specialist. What's different about graphics?
I think that the thing that's different with me, and in the field that I'm in my 9 to 5, quote unquote, it's the sign business, and I deal with a lot of graphic designers. And the difference that I have is, as you said, I get a vision for what you need before you even know what it is. One thing that's unique with me is I'm very particular about colors. There are meanings in colors. There's our psychologically, we see colors in ways we don't even know we see them. So one of the first questions I ask someone is, the very first question I ask someone when I'm designing a logo for them is, what do you see your logo? What does your business mean to you? I don't know if you remember when we did your logo, the first thing I said was, what does being unstoppable and a stop sign have to do with each other?
Right.
Because to me, your first logo, there was no movement in it. There was nothing. And so I didn't get it. So the first thing I was thinking was, well, what is unstoppable? So I thought, well, a bullet is unstoppable. But this day and age, we don't use bullets. And what we found out, you don't want bullet holes. You don't want bullets because it does a negative connotation. I learned a lot from that. And one of the things I learned is be very careful, because so much can, just because I see it one way, someone else may see it different. We have to be careful about how we put certain things in logos. But in your particular logo, seeing that stop sign and taking the word stop and having it burst out of the stop sign, that you are unstoppable, that's what I was able to do with your logo. And that's what I ask people all the time. The next question that I ask them is, what
before
color?
You go to the next question, I put the logo back up. So, and let's follow the whole process that you talked about. You asked me the questions, you asked me what I thought about, and then your vision came up. So
Yes.
as the audience is looking at the logo, tell us where your vision took over based upon your conversation.
Well, my vision took over in the fact that it's not a flat image, meaning you have movement on your logo. The word unstoppable is coming out of the stop sign. In other words, the word stop is not flat against the stop sign. It has come out of that stop sign. It is screaming out of the stop sign, actually. And you'll notice that the word stop is white, it's not black. And that's also because it drew your eye just to the word stop. And also, it's the most important thing. What you are trying to help people be is unstoppable. You do not want them to have that stop sign make them stop and not move forward, like your logo is moving forward.
I love it. I love how you just explained that. And that's important when you are working with your clients to really get an idea of what they're talking about, what they want to stand for, what they see their product, their item, their coaching practice, their speaking career, what they want their marketing material to say about them. And then what do you do with that next?
Well, I listen, but I listen with more than my ears. I kind of listen in between the lines, and I look. I also, a lot of times they'll already have a website, and I'll do some research on what the product they're selling is and that sort of thing. But what's really neat is after I've done my homework, it usually doesn't take me very long to get the logo done.
Okay.
Once I see it in my head, I usually can get it done really quickly. The other thing that I really want to touch on is how important it is to be mindful of what color you use, particularly in your case with the red. Red stands for action, power, energy, speed. These are just all of this is available. Everybody can do what I did. I just researched colors. I also learned when you use it and when you don't use it. Green, for example, stands for growth and vitality, renewal and restoration. So everyone knows the company ServPro, or at least in this, I don't know, or anyway, they're a restoration company when your house burns down.
Okay.
Don't think it's strange that their vans are green.
Okay.
Shows revitalization, renovation, regrowth, that sort of thing. Yellows, cheerful, happy. How many daycares do you see that have yellow in their logos?
A lot.
Yes. Now, think about fast food. You're going to see reds and green, reds and yellows and oranges. They're all in that family. One of the number one things that reds and oranges stand for are want. I want this, I want that. And psychologically, what's happening is it's making you want more. Don't think it's strange that the supersized fry is red. The packaging is red. The little symbol on it is red. Because you want that larger item. You want it because you think it's more. Blue, on the other hand, is kind of it's a calming color. Policemen wear blue. Blue stands for loyalty, trust, integrity. I'm not so sure about the integrity thing because if you'll notice, most of our politicians, most of the people on the debates have been wearing blue ties. All of that comes into play. And I try to use that when I'm talking to someone about their logo. I did a logo for a young lady today who's starting her own radio show. She wanted purple and gray. And I asked her why. Well, the purple she wanted because because she said, I'm a child of the King. I am a child of God, and I want purple because of royalty. And she said gray because the microphone looks like gray. And so we started talking, and the gray does stand for warmth, and it's still in that blue family and all that. But that's kind of what I do. When someone tells me, I ask them what colors they want to use, and I have changed people's minds on their colors. Like you said earlier, I can see sometimes what you need before you see what you need. And it's a gift. It's not anything that I learned from a book or learned from Google or learned from anything else. It's just a gift that the Lord gave me, and a vision that I have, that it's just a blessing that the Lord gave me. So.
And that is definitely some good information, because, you know, many times when people are starting off, entrepreneurs starting their own businesses, you know, they're more concentrated on getting the business right. This is who I am. This is what I do. But then when it comes down to getting the materials out there to market what you do, they're more concerned about the message. But
Exactly.
they don't. You probably, and you tell me, how many times have you talked to someone who's getting information or doing logos for their business, and you talk about colors and they say blue because blue's my favorite color?
Well, I mean, and that's great. You can wear a blue shirt all day long, but you are a landscaping company. You do not need blue in your logo. Now, we can do a blue flower or a blue bird in the sky or a blue butterfly on the grass, or, you know, it's not that you can't use that color. You just need to be careful about the first image, because you only have one chance to make a first impression, only once. And if that first impression doesn't settle well, you'll never settle well with them. You might you might be able to earn their trust later, but they'll always in the back of their mind remember that first impression.
Right, and that's pretty much what we talked about with my logo when we were talking about the bullet, the first iteration of the logo with the bullet hole. You remember that more so than they remember the other things that are going on with your logo. So you want to make sure that you are putting those things out there that are talking about you and getting that great message out to that person. There's really more science than anything else, right?
Yes, yes. I missed a little bit about that. What did you say that again, Terrence?
It's really more of a science to
Yes, yes.
graphic design than anything else, right?
And I would never have known that. Mr. Whipple would always tell us, you're not going to learn until you start doing it. And you're not going to figure out what your niche in it is until you do it. And he was right. I hate to admit that because he might be listening, but he was right. The truth of the matter is, I didn't learn this in a book. I didn't learn this. I learned this by rhyme or reason. I learned it by just doing it and making mistakes and realizing that doesn't work. And the good thing is you can always redo it. If you haven't published it yet, you can always redo it.
So as an entrepreneur who's starting out with their logo, you talked about the color wheel and what each color represents. What other things do you try to pull out of that person when you're creating that first logo, that first lasting impression for them?
What their vision for their company is and what their target market is, who they're trying to reach. The young lady that I did the radio show logo today, she's going to be doing a hip hop teenage kind of show, millennials, 18 to 21. I would not have used a block Arial font or a scripty. No, I had to find something hip and young, and so you have to know who their market is, who their consumers are, who their people they're trying to reach are, and so that logo is quote unquote kid friendly. It's friendly to the people that they're trying to reach, so that you can that logo does its purpose. It draws them in. It brings them to, it draws them in. It allows them to see what they're doing from a picture, from their logo.
Okay. Any other tips that you want to share with entrepreneurs in terms of creating their logo that's key for them to know before you just jump out there and hire any type of designer to do any type of logo?
Do your research. Ask to see their work. See what they've done. Ask for references. Ask what's more important is ask to see their work, and if possible, talk to the people they've worked for. Find out, number one, do they really listen to you? I mean, nothing is worse than having you telling someone 10 times what you want. You really want to be able to tell them one time and then tweak it. You don't want to have to do revision after revision after revision. The key is learn to listen to what your consumer wants. Learn to listen to what they need, and take yourself out of the equation, because it's not my logo I'm creating. It's someone else's. Now, I do put a little bit of myself in it. Of course, it's my style, it's my design. The other thing that I need to just really just express is that it's okay if they don't like it. If you did your best, all right. Not everybody's going to like it, and that's okay. Don't take it personal. Just because I like a pink and purple butterfly doesn't mean you like a pink and purple butterfly. So the thing is, realize that even though I can guide you in what I think you might need, I can guide you in what color I think you should use, the bottom line is you are paying me to do your logo. And the bottom line is, if you want an orange elephant and that's really what you want, I'm going to give you an orange elephant.
Wow. And it's just like with any other business, the old adage is the customer is always right. But you touched on something that I think is good for the entrepreneur to hear again, because just like graphic designers or visionary design specialists like yourself, you're sort of like a coach to your consumer, because you're coaching them in the direction that they need to go to have that quality product that's going to make that first impression. And without bashing any other things, any other entities, what I loved working with you is that you got it, and that you were able to, again, see some things that I wasn't seeing for myself. And, I had tried these other online design companies like Fiverr and just the other ones that say you can get this for $5 and you can get that for $1, but ultimately you get what you pay for, right?
Yes, you do. And as you said, are you there?
Yes, keep going.
As you said, you get what you pay for. Now, just like you get what you pay for as an entrepreneur, you can't expect on your first day to get paid what someone who's been in the field for 10 years might get. Like I said earlier, be prepared to give some things away. Be prepared to do some things for less than what you think. You're never going to get paid for your time. Never. It doesn't matter how much time you spend. You're never going to get compensated for all the time you spend. But the key is realizing that you have to know what you want, and you have to be willing to go for it as an entrepreneur. And like I said a little while ago, you can't take it personally. You cannot take it personally. So something else that I'd like to say to people who are trying to start a new business or trying to start an entrepreneurial endeavor is don't give up. If you had told me in 2007 when I graduated from the graphic design class that in 2016 I'd be sitting here and own my own graphics company and have the life that I have now, I would have told you were lying to me. But sitting in that classroom at Pulaski State Prison, I designed my graphics business cards. And everybody can look over my shoulder and see my graphics logo. That's where I decided to spell the word graphics, Grafix. And the reason I did that, even though it's transitioned somewhat, is it was the fix for me. Graphics was.
Wow.
It's what allowed me to it was my super glue that kind of put everything, all those little broken pieces back together. It gave me the chance to start over and take that broken vessel and glue it all back together and fix it so that it could be reused. And when you find that, you're willing to do whatever it takes to make it happen. Now, I'm not where I want to be yet, but I sure am on my way. And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt I'm going to get there. I'm so excited about what God's doing in my life and what he's doing in my husband's life and in our life as a married couple through this. And, you know, it's so neat to have something that I can give back with, and that's what I'm able to do with my graphics.
Wow. So let's talk a little bit more about Butterfly Graphics.
Okay.
Do more than just logos. What else do you do in your as a visionary design specialist?
Well, recently I've started doing quite a few book covers, and I really enjoy those. It's neat because the person sends you their transcript or their mock-up of what they would like their book cover to look like, and then I take that and I usually read that little snippet that's going to be on the back of the book, and I figure out what the book's about, and I'm able to do it. And it's just really neat. I'll tell you, I had a real neat experience last week as a book cover that I designed last week. Went to number 3 on the Amazon hot new releases. Needless to say, I took a screenshot of that and said, look, I did that book cover. Because let's face it, we shop with our eyes. We purchase something because we like the way it looks. And it did kind of make me feel good to know that, hey, when they were shopping on the Kindle version of Amazon, they saw that book cover and thought, wow, that drew their attention the first time. The other thing that I do is we touched on the Power Life Conference that I'm doing all of the marketing materials for that. And that's something that I think that I'm really going to enjoy doing, is starting with a concept for the first flyer and then carrying that through the rest of the marketing materials. I've learned so much with that. As you know, that's how I met all of you, the Men of Vision, and met you all, and have had doors open that never would have been opened. But being able to take an entire conference and help that entire conference figure out everything that's needed and figure out the way to help them. I got another opportunity this week to do the marketing for a education symposium for at-risk youth, and, you know, promotional items to all that. So I'm really stepping into that marketing, the total package, and that's really exciting and a lot of fun, and trying to figure out how we can put that brand on everything for them. And so that's really neat. The other thing is I'm beginning very slowly to branch into a little bit of web. Let me back up. I do not want to do web design. I want to be good at a few things, but I have designed, I'm redoing some people's stuff for their websites. I'm helping them rework their websites and rebrand themselves on their websites. But it's not always that you have to know. You just have to know somebody who knows how to do it. So
exactly. And you know what? That I wanted to make sure we've got that point out. As a visionary design specialist, you don't just stop at the logo. You now help them incorporate that into everything that they do from a marketing standpoint. You help them with their logo, then you help them with their social media pages, then you help them with parts of their website design, then you can help them take that on out into the world in terms of helping them with branding their conferences or branding their events with different materials. We talked about the speaker one sheet you do. You also can do flyers. You also can do the business cards. So you can do you're more than just a graphic designer. You can help an entrepreneur really make an impression across different areas of their business, right?
Well, there's so much involved that you as the general person do not know. Your business card is not your brochure about yourself. I know you've been to conferences where someone gives you a business card and it has so much information that you can't read it.
Right.
Your business card is as simple as name, logo, and how to get in touch with you. Then you can step up to a speaker one sheet, as you said, or even a small 4x6 little card that gives a little more information about you. And that's something that I have just learned through the years of doing this, all of this, is that you don't have to put everything on one thing. You can have different materials for different events. If you're speaking at a particular event, you may need something that's branded with your brand, but is tailored to that event. And that's something that you just have to learn. You have to figure out, well, I need this for this event, but yet I need this, and I need a banner for this event, or I need a shirt for this event. Whatever you might need, that's something that I'm learning and I'm expanding. I'm stretching my wings a little more, and I'm learning that, and I'm learning what all it entails, and what I kind of see happening in the future is that's what I will be doing, is helping someone who comes in who's got a startup company, and I'll just help them with all of that, help them figure out all that they need. And they're not going to get it all at one time, and that's okay. But I can help them get that wish list and that wish list of what they want, and we can shop it off one thing at a time.
I love it. Again, we're talking to Tara Gazulu. She is the CEO and owner of Butterfly Graphics out of Woodstock, Georgia. She is giving us some great information, and I hope you've been taking notes, especially if you are looking to get your marketing out there in 2016. You not only want to just get your logo, but you want to get all the other pieces that your logo is going to be on, and you want to do it strategically. You don't want to have just everything with no idea of what to do with it. But if you work with a visionary design specialist like Tara, she can help you figure out a strategic way of getting your materials when you need to get them, the way you need to have them, the right size, the right color, the right type of glossiness versus matte colors, all those things that you don't think about as an entrepreneur because you're thinking about running your business. You need someone on your team like Tara that's going to help you take your message, take your vision, and turn it into the materials that you need it to be to take your vision to the next level, so that that first impression is a lasting impression. So Tara, how can they get in contact with you if they want to have a consultation, have a deeper conversation, and let you create their vision into a lasting impression?
Well, I have a website. It's butterflygraphics.com, GRAFIX. They can contact me through that, or they can email me at actually use the Butterfly Graphics. It's Butterfly Graphics, but graphics has an S. Butterfly Graphics, GRAFIX, I know that's not proper spelling, but with Gmail, you don't have to, at gmail.com, or they are welcome to look at my Butterfly Graphics Facebook page. It's just Butterfly Graphics. They can find me there, and all of my contact information is there as well. Or look me up on Google+. I'm right there as well. They can find me on Twitter. It's at Butterfly Graphics. LinkedIn is Butterfly Graphics as well. I'm trying to think if there's some. Oh, I said Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook.
Are you on Instagram?
I am on Instagram. Thank you. It's Graphic Butterfly on Instagram, but it's graphic is spelled right there. So I'm learning all this new social media. When I went to prison in 2003, you were lucky if you had a phone that could take a picture. Now, when you come home, but I'm learning it all. The new thing I'm learning now is Snapchat. All the young kids at church are trying to teach me. They want me to be the hip old lady at church. So
okay.
I'm trying to learn Snapchat. But anyway, it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
And it's been fun having you on the Next Level Living show. Thank you so much. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing your talents, your abilities, and your gifts. And we're going to do our best to make sure that people tag you on all your social media and get you connected with them so that they can turn their visions into the lasting impressions that they want to make for their business.
One thing I do want to stress is you don't have to live in my town. You live in Chicago. I live in Woodstock. Nowadays, I can send anything to you anywhere. So, the joys of the computer have opened the field up. So.
Yes, indeed. So one last thing in 30 seconds that you want to share with the entrepreneurs that are watching this show, or the people that you've told your story to. One thing you want to share with them before we go.
The most important thing is to find out not who you are or what you are, but whose you are. Know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you belong to a higher power, and that the Lord is who is in control. If you think your alarm clock wakes you up in the morning, you're wrong. Just know the most important thing of all is that I know whose I am. Not who or what, but whose. And I'm so grateful that He gave me a second chance, and that the Lord allowed me to find this passion.
And that says it all. Tara Gazulu, Butterfly Graphics, Woodstock, Georgia. Check her out, butterflygraphics.com. Get all that information. Thank you so much. We definitely will have you back on the show many, many times. And thank you for all that you do.
You are so welcome. Thank you all.
All right, you guys. So that is the Next Level Living show with Coach Terrence. Another great show. Hopefully you entrepreneurs got some great information. That information about the color wheel is definitely going to take your business to the next level if you just put that into action. And if you need help with your designs or getting started with making that logo that's going to make a lasting impression, then you definitely want to go back and watch the replay, get all those nuggets down again, and definitely get in contact with Tara. But as always, we leave you with our unstoppable thought for the week. You know, Tara spells graphics Grafix. And if you break those two in syllables apart, the first one is gray, Gra. Tara, at the age of 38, went into a gray place called prison. And her life was in turmoil. Didn't know what was going to happen. Didn't know what to do. All she knew is that she was in a gray place. Many of our lives, at one time or another, have been in that gray place, in that dark space of life, and we didn't know what we were going to do or what was going to happen next. But then the other part of the logo design came into place, the FIX. She turned her life over to the Lord, and He fixed it for Tara. So she may have went into the prison in a gray place, in a dark cocoon, but he was able to fix her and transform her. And she came out on the other side as a beautiful, colorful butterfly, spreading her wings not only in Woodstock, Georgia, but all over the world. That same thing can happen for you. You may be struggling right now in your dark place. You may be going through your trials and tribulations inside of your own personal cocoon. But Tara bears witness, and I bear witness in my personal testimony of coming out on the other side, that if you go through that gray space, if you lean on God in that cocoon, He will fix you, He will transform you, and you will fly up to the next level of your greatness. And you too will be unstoppable. That's our unstoppable thought of the week. Hey, listen, bonus, if you want to get some more unstoppable thoughts, then I want you to go right on over to blab.im right now and check out the Power Life Business Conference Blab. It's coming on in the next couple of minutes on blab.im. Go on over to that. But then I also want you to come back and share this replay with some other entrepreneurs you know, some other people that have gone through some gray spaces and need to know that they can truly fly like a butterfly, like Tara did. And until we connect again, I don't want you to just dream big. I want you to aim high and believe in the impossible. And never, ever forget that you can be unstoppable. Don't just make it a great day, make it an unstoppable day. And here's to living your life on the next level. Take care, family.